Hi guys, my name is Trinity, and if you are here to talk about the 23 books I plan to focus on in 2023. Now, these are books that I do want to give priority to. These are books that I'm anticipating releases. These are books that I really want to make sure that I read this year. However, I don't exactly have a plan on when I'm going to read them. I just know that in 2023, I want to get around to these 23 books. Starting us off, I will go with the obvious, The Traitor, Covenant of Steel, Book 3 by Anthony Ryan. I have really enjoyed this series. It's about Alwyn Scribe, who kind of just keeps getting himself into awkward positions. He is a bit of a mercenary and gets tangled up in a religious scheme. And I've really just enjoyed this series a lot. I've been a little quiet about it because it's more traditional fantasy than what I enjoy, but because it's Anthony Ryan, I still love it. And I'm very excited to finish off this series. Next would be A Shade of Madness by Tiago Abdallah, which is book 2 in the Avarian series. I think that's what it's called. A Touch of Light being the first one and Shade of Madness being the second. I'm very excited for this. I absolutely loved the first book. This is another that focuses on political machinations and religion, and I'm just excited for it. And there's a griffin, which I'm going to put the picture up for you guys, but there's a griffin on the cover. This cover is stunning. I absolutely love it. Which A Touch of Light, that cover was also stunning. So I'm really excited to have these on my shelves because they're beautiful. Next, we would have the final book in the 5 Warrior Angels, The Lonesome Crown, which is sitting over there, and I'm being lazy and not picking it up. But I do own that one already. And the 5 Warrior Angels is another that's one of my favorites, and we can go religion, political machinations, all of that stuff again. I have like, my favorites are my favorites for a reason. Like, this is what I'm drawn to, obviously. But I'm looking forward to finishing up this series as well. Brian Lee Durfee, his writing is so good. I love all 3 of these authors, their writing style, absolutely love them. And then we have the final book in Burning Blade and Silver Eye by Django Wexler, Emperor of Ruin. And I love this series. So the ones I am talking about are favorite series of mine, so I don't really have anything to say right now because you guys have heard a lot about them so far this last year, especially with my end of the year wrap-up videos. So I'm trying not to just keep talking about them, but this does have a bit of a Star Wars feel. And like I said in my last video, I heard someone say, what if the Jedi weren't the good guys? That's kind of the theme of this series, and I absolutely adore it. Next would be Aethera Grave by Essa Hansen, the 3rd and final book in the Graven series. And I adore this series, again, so much. I will finish Azura Ghost as soon as SPSFC is over, and I have half a book left to read. So then I will be picking up Azura Ghost as soon as I finish the Ember Blade. Next would be Engines of Chaos by R.S. Ford. This is the 2nd book. I can't remember the name of the series, but it's the 2nd book, follow-up to Engines of Empire. I am really looking forward to seeing where this series goes because I loved that first book so much. Absolutely adored it. And then next would be Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the follow-up to Ninth House. And I don't remember if this is a series or a duology, but this is supposed to be like right on the heels of what happened in Ninth House. And as much as that book was like, a lot of people want to say it was forgettable. I have not forgotten it. I have not forgotten what happened. And for me, that is saying something because books don't always stick with me. And I usually have to do a reread before I can read the next book. But Alex, her story has just stuck with me, and I'm so excited to continue. Next would be Borrow of Winter by H.M. Long. You guys can probably see it now because of how I have the camera positioned, but I have Hall of Smoke and Temple of No God over there at the end. I've really enjoyed this series. I think I will enjoy the final book of this series because I enjoyed Hall of Smoke so much. I do need to read Temple of No God, but I didn't put that on here because I will probably be reading that very soon. And I wanted to make sure Borrow of Winter got on here, but if you haven't read these yet, they're kind of Norse inspired, and it's what if the gods went to war and people were left to fend for themselves. It's kind of the basis of this series, and I really, really enjoyed it. Next would be One Dark Window by Rachel Gillum, I believe. It's over there again, and I'm being lazy and not picking it up because I forgot to pull the ones that were actually on my TBR cart. This one is about a girl who adopts a nightmare in her head. Don't really know what the entity is, but she's trying to save her world from the darkness that has spread across it and enlists his help. And I've heard it touted as gothic, so that really makes me excited, but gothic fantasy, so very much looking forward to that. Next would be Stars Within by Alex Arch, and I recorded this video a while ago, and when I did, I was like all over the place in my head and ended up deleting the video, and in it I was like, Alex Arch is just such a cutie. Like, it just randomly came out of my mouth. And so I made a clip of that just for him because he was like, wait, you said that in a video? And I was like, yeah. So he was like, okay, you can say it again if you want to. And so I'm saying it again. You know, Alex Arch, he's adorable. And I have talked to him quite a bit about this story, and on the Discord, we have talked about it quite a bit. And I feel like this is going to be a story that just hits me straight in the feels, especially because a lot of people have compared it to Mass Effect and feeling like it got pulled from that world, and that's always one thing that gets me. And then I've heard it's just emotionally impactful, so I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. Next would be The Iron Crown by L.L. McRae. I have been dying to start this series for so long, and I keep putting it off, and I'm not really sure why. It's one of those things that I know it's there, but it's on my Kindle, and then I have the audiobook. And so sometimes when things like I have an ebook of something, I forget about it because it's on my Kindle and I can't see it, and I have ADHD. And one thing about having ADHD is out of sight, out of mind. Like, if it's not there, it doesn't exist. And so if I can't see it, it doesn't exist. And so I've put it off for a little while, not meaning to, but she was kind enough to send me the audio whenever it was released, and I just haven't gotten around to it, but I do plan to get to it this year. I do plan to get to it as soon as possible. And what I know of this is fantasy and dragons and great characters. Like, everybody that I know has been talking this series up. I know Andrew from Wizardly Reads really loved it, and a lot of people on our Discord really loved it. So I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. Now the one that I'm a little scared to read because I know how character driven it is. And I know that it's one of those that's it's going to tug at the heartstrings, but Legacy of the Brightwash by Crystal Matar. I'm looking forward to this, but I'm really nervous about it. Like, I love emotionally impactful stories. I really do, but I hate crying. I hate it. And so I put those books off, but I really, really want to get around to this. I have the audiobook for it. I have the ebook for it, and I just haven't picked it up yet because I know it's going to hit me in the feels, and I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Now, one that I meant to read last year that I didn't get around to, and it was because of SPSFC being so hectic and it fell at the wrong time, but that would be The Blood of Crows by Alex C. Pierce. And I'm looking forward to this a lot because I know that we're dealing with thieves, and I love a good heist story. And everyone that I know that has read it has really enjoyed it, said it was a lot of fun, and it's dark, so that speaks to me as well. But I'm looking forward to this one so much. Next would be Curse of the Fallen by H.C. Newell. Again, everybody that I have talked to that has read it has really enjoyed it. And her as a person, I really enjoy interacting with her. She's so fun and she's so friendly. And I really like that she went into writing this a little blind. So not that she's read a lot of fantasy, but had this like thought in her head that she wanted to produce something that, and that tells me that we're probably going to get a pretty original idea, and that excites me. And then the covers for these are absolutely stunning. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one a lot, like all of these. All of these I'm going to say that about probably because I'm looking forward to getting around to this finally. I've had the ebooks of these for quite some time, and I just haven't been able to read them yet. Next would be The Wolf by Leo Caro. Now, I have purchased the first 2 books in this series. I do love a good Norse story. I know that these are Norse based, if not Norse themselves, but it says war, rivalry, and honor in a world where the fiercest enemies are always closer than they seem. Beyond the Black River, amongst the forests and mountains of the north, lives an ancient race of people. Their lives are measured in centuries, not decades. They revel in wilderness and resilience, and they scorn wealth and comfort. By contrast, those in the south live in the moment. Their lives are more fleeting. They crave wealth and power. Their ambition is limitless and their cunning unmatched. When the armies of the south flood across the Black River, the fragile peace between the two races is shattered. On a lightning-struck battlefield, the two sides will fight for their people, for their land, for their survival. And it sounds so good. And Leanne from Leanne's Library, she's talked about this series so much. And I've actually found out that a couple of people on my Discord have really, really enjoyed at least this first book. And so it's making me very excited to get into it as well. I have had a lot of Norse books sitting on the wayside waiting to be read since it has been a while since I've read them, but I had a huge burnout on Norse books, but I'm looking forward to delving back into them this year. Now, one that's semi-random for me, but I purchased it from Book of the Month, would be Queen of Thieves by Beezy Marsh. Now, when I picked this up, of course, Thieves was what got me. But it says, an electrifying historical adventure about a ring of bold and resourceful female thieves in post-World War II London. So, female thieves, that just gets me even more. Like, we have post-World War II thieving women, and I'm excited. I'm excited about that. Okay, so last year, my friend Andrew bought me quite a few books for my birthday, for Christmas, and things like that. And I've read all of them but one. And I've put it off because I'm scared. Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I believe I said that right. I'm not sure. This one, though, is about an AI who watches humans and human interaction. And that's all I know. That's all I know. But I think it sounds like it could be really good. Now, I do know that this is more of an Andrew book. And if you guys don't know what that means, me and my friend Andrew, we have very differing tastes in books. Now, a lot of our tastes align, but he loves character-driven. He loves thematic stuff. That's not my style. And this is very much an Andrew book. And I still find the premise of it very, very intriguing. We have another Book of the Month book, but it is Sign Here by Claudia Lux. Now, there is a big reason that I want to read this book, and there's a big reason that I put it on this list. And that is because I really loved Library of the Forgotten. No, Library of the Unwritten. And then the second book failed me. And so I loved the premise of that, though. And this has a very similar premise where we have, I believe it's a person in hell who is supposed to be making deals, and they have to sign another contract in order for them to be promoted in this realm where they are. And I just love the idea of that. I love the idea of that. But yeah, like, this individual is trying to get this family to sign over their souls, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Now, one that has recently hit my radar, and then Fairy Loot sent me this freaking gorgeous edition of it. Like, come on now. Come on now. It's stunning. It is absolutely stunning. Stunning, stunning. The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. And it says, once upon a time, a man who believed in fairy tales married a beautiful, mysterious woman named Indigo Maxwell Castaneda. He was a scholar of myths. She was an heiress to a fortune. They exchanged gifts and stories and believed they would live happily ever after. And in exchange for their love, Indigo extracted a promise that her bridegroom would never pry into her past. As the house slowly reveals his wife's secrets, the bridegroom will be forced to choose between reality and fantasy, even if doing so threatens to destroy their marriage or their lives. Now, this has also been compared to Mexican Gothic, and that excites me, but it's also been compared to Addie LaRue, and that doesn't excite me. But it says, inside every story is a secret. Inside every marriage is a lie. And I'm so excited for this. This is Roshani Chachki's adult debut. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. But you compare something to Mexican Gothic and I get excited. But also, someone who believes in the fantastical and wants to explore the fantastical and then maybe finds out it's real. I love this idea. And another book of the month would be The Wilder Women by Ruth Emmy Lang. And I've never read anything by them. But it says 5 years ago, Nora Wilder disappeared. The older of her two daughters, Zadie, should have seen it coming because she can literally see things coming. But not even her psychic abilities were able to prevent her mother from vanishing one morning. Zadie's estranged sister, Finn, can't see into the future, but she has an uncannily good memory. So good that she remembers not only her own memories, but the echoes of memories from other people left behind. On the afternoon of her graduation party, Finn is seized by an echo more powerful than anything she's experienced before. A woman singing a song she recognizes, a song about a bird. When Finn awakes alone in an aviary, no idea how she got there, she realizes who the memory belongs to, Nora. Now it's up to Finn to convince her sister that not only is their mom still out there, but that she wants to be found. And I think that that sounds really, really cool. Very intriguing. I hadn't heard about this book until Book of the Month put it on their list, but I've been excited for this ever since it arrived on my doorstep. Okay, then another fairy loot that I haven't gotten around to yet would be Her Majesty's Royal Coven. Everyone that has read this has really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to get to it, but it's about witches working for the government, and which is Her Majesty's Royal Coven. And I know that they're facing down some big bad, and it says their greatest enemy will come from within. Hidden among us is a secret coven of witches. There are whisperings of a prophecy that will bring the coven to its knees, and four best friends are about to be caught at the center. Now, this does remind me of like Pretty Little Liars, but with witches. At least the synopsis does. And I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Not always down for drama, but this does sound like it's going to be really fun. Next is a book I was so excited for when I picked it up, and then I just never read it. And I'm like, why haven't I read this yet? But that would be The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. And this is basically boxes start to arrive on everybody's doorstep that gives them the date of their death, or how many days they, or how much longer they're going to survive. And then what happens to society as it starts to break down, because now everybody knows how many days they have left on this world, and kind of gives everybody that, you know, sense of this is how much longer you have left to live. Now what are you going to do? And I think that that can be really, really like cool to read about. I think it could be heart-wrenching. I think it could be like entertaining, but I'm very excited to get into this and figure out what this is all about. And last on my list is a book I didn't want to put on this list, but I know I'm going to read it. I'm going to try it. I know that it's not for me. That's what I know, is this book is probably not going to be for me, but I really want to give this author another chance because I didn't like their fantasy series, and this is fantasy, but it's a little bit outside of the box in dark academia, and that would be Babel, whatever you want to call it. I don't feel like I need to talk about this one too much because everybody on BookTube has been talking about it, but I do want to give it a go, see if I like it. If not, I already have a friend who's like, send it my way, I want it. But yeah, I haven't felt the itch to pick this up yet, mainly because I really don't think it's going to be the book for me, but I did get it from Fairy Loot, and so I do want to give it a try and see what I think about it. It could turn out to be a favorite book of mine. You never know. Never know. But it is one that I do want to get to very soon. All right, that is it for me today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.